I am Babla Jonathan, and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories in this edition of the news, an eco guard is killed by an elephant in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The eco guard killed last night was on a regular bi-monitoring mission in the Mount Cameroon National Park. Derek Jato is on standby with details from the southwest regional chief town, Oya, and also in this newscast we'll talk about tens of families rendered homeless in Marwa 2 subdivision in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon. They are victims of a forceful eviction exercise. They were kicked out of the area for illegally occupying state land. Details coming up next. Thanks once more for joining us on this edition of the newscast on Equinoxe television. We begin in the crisis-stricken southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. An eco guard is killed by an elephant in the southwest region, and the eco guard was killed last night. He was on a regular bi-monitoring mission in the Mount Cameroon National Park when he was attacked and killed by the elephant. Derek Jato files in details from the southwest region.
We are here at the Mount Cameroon National Park. This is the elephant track we have been made to understand, and it is on this road that Chau Ngweku Henry walked past some 24 hours ago, and today the story of his death is being reported. He was killed some kilometers far into this forest by an elephant on the 28th of March 2021. The Southwest Regional Delegate of Forestry and Wildlife has come out with a communique affirming that an elephant killed the eco guard by name Chau Henry. Well, we have been made to understand that he was on a mission, a regular bow monitoring mission at the Mount Cameroon National Park. And of course, this eco guard, working as an assistant technician with the Mount Cameroon National Park, was killed, breaking this 29th day of March 2021. As to what really transpired far into this forest with the elephants and the eco guard, we are yet to really come to terms with what actually happened. But some sources say it was a female elephant that just gave birth, and seeing this eco guard around, she thought and felt that her family is threatened and had to react. As of now, a team was dispatched since morning to calm down with the cops, and we hear that it would take more than 6 hours for the cops to calm down here in Boya. Well, we have been at the Southwest Regional Delegation of Forestry and Wildlife, and we saw the wife of the late Henry shocked. She said she cannot believe until she sees the corpse of her husband, but it is already confirmed by authorities that it happened, and what we are waiting for here is the corpse of late Henry, an eco guard working with the Mount Cameroon National Park as an assistant forest technician. Derek Jato, along the elephant path, Mount Cameroon National Park, signing out for the news.
Thanks a bunch, Derek Jato, for that report from the Mount Cameroon National Park in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. From the southwest region, we take you now to the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon, where tens of families are now homeless. They are victims of a forceful eviction exercise. They were forcefully kicked out of the area they have been occupying for several years. The area is said to be state land which they have been illegally occupying, according to authorities. From me, Armstrong Sander has more.
Anger and frustration at the wounded neighborhood of Marwa 2 subdivision, Diamari division of the far north region of Cameroon. Several families have been rendered help and homeless following a forceful eviction exercise from public officials who say victims have been wrongly occupying state land.
J'ai pris le terrain depuis 2011.
I bought this land from the Lamido in 2011, constructed my house and moved in with my 2 wives. I do not know where to go now.
Actuellement, je ne sais même pas là où je peux aller. Je ne sais même pas.
Like Buba, majority of the victims had sale receipts with the signature of the Lamido of Marwa, through which they had a level of security without seeing the need to go for land titles.
Quand nous sommes venus faire un constat d'évaluation,
during an evaluation visit to this place, we realized that just one person had a land title. We took measures and the person was compensated with a sum of close to 30 million francs CFA. The other occupants were residing in total illegality.
Sont dans la pure et simple illégalité.
Though the demolition exercise comes at a time considered by victims as most difficult, administrators say the exercise marks the start of work on a 17 billion solar energy plant project for the area.
Il n'est un secret pour personne que le pays connaît en ce moment des sérieux problèmes d'alimentation.
It isn't a secret to anybody that Cameroon is experiencing a high energy deficit, especially on the north interconnection. Hence, the area where we find ourselves has been earmarked for the construction of a solar energy plant by Eneo.
Afin de construire une centrale photovoltaïque.
Apart from the solar energy plant project, the 2.5 hectares of land will also see the erection of a CMPS office, the office of the divisional officer for Marwa 2 subdivision, a gendarmerie post and a couple of other public structures. However, observers question why the citizens were allowed to continue to build on a place considered as state land.
Innocent in the report coming up next talks about the behavior of the government of Cameroon, which is considered as discriminatory with regards to inmates in some major prisons in the Republic of Cameroon, notably prisoners of Operation Sparrowhawk, the initiative put in place by governments to fight corruption and embezzlement. And there is a general outcry over that attitude of government, which considers the situation of some but does not, as well as inmates of the Anglophone crisis who are being detained in critical health conditions but are not granted the same clemency or possibility to go out for treatment. And these some politicians decried. On the program, draw the response on Equinoxe television over the weekend. Innocent.
The presidential grace awarded to condemned embezzlers of state funds, like the case of former CRTV General Manager Professor Javier Mendoza, has sparked hot reactions from the political college, with the pardon remaining secret as no authority has officially announced this clemency.
Paul Biya ne va pas nous amener sur un terrain où tout le temps on va implorer sa grâce.
Pierre-Emmanuel Binam, CRM militant on Droit de Réponse on Equinoxe television, says President Paul Biya is not a god who should be praised in all he does.
Camerounais sont en train de mendier sa grâce.
To him, the grace given Mendoza is merely for health evacuation and not freedom, because constitutionally, the state has to ensure its citizens are in good health.
C'est d'assurer la santé de ces populations.
He asks, if healthcare was not at stake, no one will be talking of the Mendoza granted grace and that of others. Questioned on similar subject matter, CPJ militant Martin Zhang says,
Moi, je suis dans l'incapacité, n'étant pas chef de l'État.
He is not the president and will prefer not to analyze the grace. He, however, knows President Paul Biya is the only master and judges by his power.
Saura quand il pourra, n'est-ce pas, libérer les gens ou alors les garder en détention.
CRM's Pierre-Emmanuel Binam regrets the fact that
en dehors des prisonniers de MRC et même parmi les prisonniers de MRC, il y en a qui développent des pathologies qui sont déjà visibles.
Sick victims of the Operation Sparrowhawk are favored over Cameroonians arrested and detained arbitrarily in detention centers in Cameroon.
Les petites pharmacies, oui, qu'on a mis dans les disposés dans les prisons.
What he deplores most is the inhumane treatment given to sick detainees of the Anglophone crisis, as instead of being evacuated like embezzlers, they are chained to their sick beds to die.
On a vu les prisonniers de la crise anglophone qui sont camerounais. C'est-à-dire que quelqu'un est en train de mourir, il est sur perfusion, mais il est enchaîné pieds et mains. C'est inhumain.
Jean-Robert Wafo, SDF Shadow Cabinet Minister for Communication, on the same path with Emmanuel Binam of the CRM, says
le premier niveau, le premier degré de civilité.
First degree civility of a nation is state of its prisons and rights of its prisoners.
Des droits des prisonniers. Il n'est pas concevable qu'un malade couché sur son lit soit enchaîné comme un bandit.
To him, Cameroon needs to be a true republic with unbiased justice.
C'est-à-dire celle où les citoyens n'ont pas le sentiment d'une injustice quotidienne.
It should be recalled, many critically ill and dying detainees of the Anglophone crisis, like Thomas Awa and many others, are denied a mere proper home medical treatment, but instead change on the leg and hand to their sick beds for poor treatment in hospitals whose states are disgusting.
Il y a des gens qui deviennent des prisonniers, qui deviennent fous, qui sont enchaînés. Cela n'attire pas l'attention de l'administration pénitentiaire.
That was a report compiled there by Innocent Aze. And now on to something else. Members of the professional organizations of medics in Cameroon have urged all persons to accept the anti-COVID-19 vaccines, and they indicate the importance of the vaccination in the fight against the pandemic. And of course, in a statement, they said that government will go ahead with the vaccination exercise, and they highlighted the AstraZeneca vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson and Sputnik vaccines that could be administered in the Republic of Cameroon, with health professionals at the line of priority. Details with Immaculate Rogwe.
Members of the Cameroon Medical Council, in a 6-paged document, frown at the non-adherence to public health instructions by a good number of Cameroonians, especially now when the country is experiencing a second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, which is said to be deadlier than the first wave. According to the experts, vaccine is the only way of ending the pandemic. To this effect, the Cameroon Medical Council announces that Cameroon will go ahead to acquire the AstraZeneca vaccine. Though the administration of this vaccine is not obligatory, they encourage eligible persons to get themselves vaccinated. They equally mentioned that millions of doses of the Johnson and Sputnik vaccines are already in their possession and will only be administered to frontline health workers in the different health centers where COVID-19 patients are treated. The professionals urged the Cameroonian population to respect all the COVID-19 barrier measures such as social distancing, wearing a face mask, and regular washing of hands with water and soap in order to limit contamination. Government authorities, on their part, were exhorted to take strict measures that will ensure the implementation of COVID-19 barrier measures. They equally encouraged them to accelerate the procedure of acquiring the vaccine and immediately kickstart the vaccination campaign. This decision is coming few weeks after Health Minister Manauda Malachi halted the importation of the AstraZeneca vaccine over reports of blood clot.
Students of Lycée Polyvalent Bonaberi Douala for subdivision showcase the talents and skills they have acquired in the course of their training in that institution, and this was during an open door day. During that day, they showcased a number of interesting things that they could make with their hands, that they could create with their hands. And Kmer compiled this report.
It was an open day session at the Lycée Polyvalent in Bonaberi, Douala 4 subdivision, with students showcasing their talent and ingenuity. An open day session which welcomed the presence of the Divisional Officer of Douala 4, Issa DAOUDA, alongside other key stakeholders and administrators.
Nous venons de prendre part aux journées portes ouvertes du lycée polyvalent de Bonaberi.
We just took part in the open day session at the Lycée Polyvalent in Bonaberi, which gave us the opportunity to witness and appreciate the efforts made by students and teachers. This open day session equally made us discover the talents these students have in various domains, such as electricity, automobile mechanics, tailoring, fashion and arts.
En électricité, en automobile, en industrie d'habillement, en art culinaire.
The divisional officer also called on entrepreneurs, industrialists and innovators to accompany the students towards attaining their objectives and goals in order to embrace utmost professionalism.
Nous allons tout simplement solliciter que les partenaires.
We believe our partners, who constitute of entrepreneurs and innovators who are present here today, will help to develop the ideas of these children in the technical field, so they can forge their way towards being professionals in their various domains.
Pour véritablement entrer dans le sillage de la professionnalisation.
Some school administrators also shared their points of view and think that the sponsorship and funding of most of these projects by the government will help promote better and qualitative education within school milieus.
What I see is simply that we need to sponsor these children and inspire them to work harder, because there are many innovations they have presented that actually the society is in need and can even bring the cost of running the school down. Like the gas they prepared, that it was wonderful. They can be preparing gas and the school use and many other things that they presented. So I will call on the school management and even the government to empower this, especially lay private schools, so that they should be able to realize the projects that they are up to, that they see they are feasible and that can help the society.
Even though the innovative and creative minds of these children deserve accolades, the question still left unanswered is, when will government start funding and promoting the projects of these young, vibrant and brilliant minds?
Officials in Mozambique have said dozens of people are dead following an attack by Islamist militants on a town in the north of the country. Hundreds of militants stormed Palma, targeting shops, banks and a military barrack. The spokesperson of the country's defense department said 7 people were killed trying to escape a siege on a hotel. Militants linked to the Islamic State group is behind the conflict in the predominantly Muslim region. The fighting has left more than 2,500 people dead and 700,000 displaced since the insurgency began in 2017. Hundreds of others, both locals and foreigners, were reportedly rescued from Palma after the attack. Now on our sports page, a Cameroonian, Francis Ngannou, wins the Ultimate Fighting Championship heavyweight belt. Francis Ngannou won the crown over the weekend after defeating America's Stipe Miocic. Smanjikan Gabriel tells us who is Francis Ngannou in this report.
Francis Ngannou was born and raised in Batie, West region of Cameroon. He lived in poverty and had little formal education growing up. Ngannou's parents divorced when he was just 6 years old. At 10 years old, Ngannou started working in a sand quarry in Batie. As a young star, Ngannou was approached by several gangs in his village to join them, but he instead decided to use his father's reputation as a street fighter as a motivation and pursued boxing. At the age of 22, Ngannou began training in boxing despite the initial reluctance of his family. He did various odd jobs to make ends meet until the age of 26. He decided to head to Paris in France to pursue professional boxing, but upon reaching Europe, he was jailed for 2 months in Spain for illegally crossing the borders. Without friends, money, a place to shelter, in August 2013, Ngannou started training for free under Didier Camont. Ngannou started his mixed martial arts MMA career in 2013 and fought mostly in French promotion 100% Fight as well as other regional promotions in Europe. He compiled a record of 5 wins and 1 loss before signing with the Ultimate Fight Championship. Francis Ngannou has fought a total of 19 MMA, counting 16 wins, 12 of them through knockout, 4 of the fights through submission by his opponents, and Francis Ngannou has lost just thrice since he started his MMA career. He became the first African and Cameroonian to clinch the heavyweight champion over the weekend. He is 6 times winner of the Performance of the Night fight, among other victories in different competitions.
Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something so you.
That's it for the first part of this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast. Talking Point is up next. We are receiving a civil society leader. He is equally an educationist, general coordinator of Excellence Union International Group, business and investment consultant, global entrepreneur and philanthropist, and of course, nation builder, MOSOKE, LYONGA. Lucas, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for inviting me once more at Equinoxe. I'm very happy to be here.
Right, you're coming in from Boyan, in the southwest region of the country, where an elephant killed a coast guard last night in the Mount Cameroon National Park. What information do we have about that? Added to what we have already heard in this newscast from our correspondent on the ground.
Yes, actually, today I was at the main office there to verify this information, and we spoke with one of the administrators, and who confirmed that an elephant killed one of their staff, and they are just waiting to see how to bring the cops, and that the whole place was actually on low key. And it's true that unfortunately this person was killed by an elephant in the mountain where they were actually carrying out their function activities of guarding the forest and the fauna that we find. It's a sad situation, really, but it has been happening even in the past. Elephants have been able to kill so many persons because it's not easy. It's a very risky activity. It's a very risky job. And at times, an elephant may be hiding in the bush and a thick forest, and you may not even be aware. And unfortunately, it happened this way. So it's true that one person was killed in the mountain by an elephant.
Right. You may not be a cultural expert. Last week, there was some sort of a cultural demonstration that was carried out by some people in Limbe, still in the southwest region, in relation to elephants that were destroying farmlands, and they said they were appeasing the elephant or something like that. And after that incident, this comes up.
Yes, you cannot appease animals. I think it's just an assumption that they're appeasing the elephants. I think that the state needs to look at a better way of protecting these species that they wish to preserve. And elephants are very, very destructive. Everywhere in the world, they are very, very destructive. So they need to actually handle the pack in such a way that elephants should not be able to cross and cause havoc, especially where persons have labored to plant their crops. So I think the government will look at better ways to preserve these animals, and not just the elephant alone, other wild animals that are found in the mountain under this project of Mount Cameroon Wildlife Protection Project. So I just wish that they actually look at better ways to enhance the protective initiative that they have started, so that we will not have other casualties in the mountain.
As a leadership expert, now we're going to talk about leadership, but before that, we'll take off from an action initiated, undertaken by a leader, an administrative authority who is expected to be a leader, talking about the divisional officer of Kmer in the Donga Mountain Division, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. There's a video going viral on social media in which he assembled indigenes of Kongi village and spoke to them in a very hard, in a threatening tone, and speaking to them about a school that was burnt down, Catholic school, Kongi, and telling them that it was not normal that they should have that school, which is not a school that is present in almost all the villages, and they burnt it again, referring to pro-independence fighters who are alleged to have burnt the school. And then he went further to call out some persons in the crowd who are said to have sold fuel to those who burned the school, and even called out the parents of some pro-independence fighters, speaking to them in a very hard tone, and then ordering the security and defense forces to pick them up. What's your take about this?
Yeah, my take about the issue is that the government authority, the divisional officer, is carrying out his function. But you see, when you are carrying out your function, you have to be human friendly. It means that you approach humans in a friendly manner. A residence or a school has been burned. It's true, it's a very bad act. Whether it's burned by who, whether it's a separatist or whosoever burned down a school, that is a very bad act, and it's not something to actually condone with. But the approach, because I saw where he was asking those who are selling fuel and that they should come out and so on. And so selling fuel is everywhere in Cameroon today. When you are traveling everywhere in Cameroon, youths are selling fuel everywhere. So sales of fuel is not a bad thing. But I think that act of people going to buy and going to burn a school, that is what is bad. So we should not leave what has been done, and we are chasing other people who are carrying out some of these activities to be able to make ends to meet. It's everywhere, even here in Douala, go to Boya, go to Yaoundé, everywhere, go to Bafoussam and Bamenda, youths are selling fuel now. So the sales of fuel is becoming something normal. So I think that the substance of this issue is not the sale of fuel. It is the youth or the persons that actually committed that act of burning down that school. That is where the problem is found. It's not those who are selling fuel, because the same persons that are selling fuel have been selling to others who have not been using it to burn. So I think that they should pursue those who have burned down the school. They should be arrested, those who have carried out that activity, because the bad activity is not good to burn down the school, rather than intimidating the masses, intimidating the population. No, the population should not be intimidated. It's their right to live, it's their right to have freedom. So I think that the SDO or the DO is supposed to use a human-friendly tone and even help the community to be able to frown at such actions that are taken by some persons that probably are not yet identified. It's not a good action, but the approach of civil administrators should be human friendly. It means that know that the people whom you are controlling, you are leading, you are taking care of, you are protecting, they are human beings. If they are not there, you will not be senior divisional officer or divisional officer. So you should be able to have a friendly approach, an approach that is acceptable, because it's not acceptable to intimidate Cameroonians who have not committed any bad act. Rather, look at the method, look at the way of going to arrest those who have committed the action, and you don't go and arrest people who have not committed any evil or crime.
In the opinion of the divisional officer of Kmer, Ngide Lawrence Chair, those people are accomplices, somehow are suspected accomplices, and he tells them, he told them that they will not denounce the perpetrators. They have been hiding the perpetrators in their homes, and he thinks that this is a problem.
Those are assumptions, and I don't think that that is the way things are, or things are supposed to be carried out. You don't just come, pick people up and ask them to be arrested. And I don't even think that is a job of a senior divisional officer or a divisional officer. He is not an expert in that area. There are experts in investigation. Let the experts in investigation go and do their job. They are the ones that will bring out suspects. The senior divisional officer should also know his expertise. He is not an expert in investigation. He is an administrator. So he should, when something happens like this, they should set up a committee of experts who will go and carry out their investigations. You don't just come and use powers that have been given to you to intimidate the population and make them not to feel at home. Because when you intimidate like that, tomorrow other things will happen and people will rise up and say, we were intimidated, and truly they were intimidated. Don't intimidate, and carry out your investigation first. Allow experts in investigation to go to the field and do their job. They are the ones now that can come up with those who have carried out such an activity. You don't just come assuming and intimidating people and carrying people, arresting them, whereas investigation has not yet been carried out. Let's not do things haphazardly. Things are not done like that elsewhere.
Another issue that is raising concerns among human rights defenders, as far as that video, that action of the divisional officer of Camer is concerned, is the fact that he brought out the parents of some persons who are linked with pro-independence fighters. The mother of a young lady who is said to have been married to a pro-independence fighters far before 2016, before the crisis started, and another parent of another a lady who is married to the same pro-independence general in quotes, and he tells the old woman, you're going to pay for the crime that your daughter has committed.
Yes, I think at times
for the pains. What can we say about this?
Yes, I wish to say one thing, and I think this is what everybody has been saying. Let the government bring this crisis to an end. The government is able to bring this thing to an end. The government has the solution. The government knows the solution. Let's not be beating about the bush. If somebody is an independent fighter and they are crying and they have been wallowing for all these years, there is a solution. There is no crisis, there is no problem that does not have a solution. The solution to this is simple. Bring the people on the table, sit on the table, either at home or elsewhere where it is suitable for everybody, and let this issue be looked into once and for all, so that it should be brought to rest. Because other issues will resurface in different forms, in different ways, that may be linked to this or not. So let us not be fighting the shadow. Let us go to the source, go to the root cause, resolve the ongoing crisis, resolve the ongoing Anglophone crisis, and bring this thing to an end. Because if we don't bring it to an end, other issues will arise tomorrow. And many more people may find themselves into trouble. This crisis has a solution. This problem has a solution. And the government is able to bring this thing to an end. And let the government do that. There's no need for us. After 4 years, people are still in the bushes and the rest. Nobody is happy to be in the bush. Nobody. Everybody wants to be at home. So I think that let the government take this thing once more very seriously, bring the solutions to the table, and let this thing be resolved once and for all. Nobody is interested in seeing people in the bushes. Nobody is interested in seeing each day one atrocity or the other is being committed. And there is a solution. There is a government. If a government cannot handle a simple issue like this one, that we all call it very simple, then which type of problem can the government solve? So I think that the government should take its responsibility.
Where government is finding solutions to the crisis, the people who are suffering on the ground, people who have been killed, people who have been arrested indiscriminately, and so on. But the worry here is about parents paying for the crimes of their children who are either pro-independence fighters or wives of pro-independence fighters.
No, we are condemning vehemently the act of the SDO. That is not the way. That is not the procedure. That is not even a legal procedure. I think that was just an act from emotional issues. Immediate, the SDO probably out of the fact that he is not happy, out of the fact that he is angry, he just carried out. I think that is not the way. Everybody will say clearly, clean and clear, that is not the law. That is not how the law is applied. Yes, the SDO has its limit. The SDO is not a legal officer. The SDO is not a court, and so on. So let them know their limits. Administrators also have their limits, and they should work according to their limits. And when things have gone beyond their limits, they should call those that are in that sphere of operation to come and continue from where the limits of the administrators end. Administrators don't have an infinite function. They have a limit. So that action to intimidate Cameroonians, to call Cameroonians out that they will pay for what their sons or whatsoever has done, is wrong. Nobody pays for the crime of another person. People pay for their crime. So you cannot intimidate another person that person who is linked to you has committed a crime.
When you see
it's not found anywhere, and let that not be a practice in Cameroon. Let us follow the law the way the law is.
Does that manner of trying to handle issues in this context, destruction going on, and the divisional officer is saying, no, this destruction shouldn't be going on, the schools should not be burnt down, the criminals or suspected criminals should not be kept away from the administration or the security and defense forces? Do you see this manner of handling things in the context? Does it enter the context of the kind of leadership which Dr. Miles Monroe describes as leadership being the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by passion, generated by vision, produced by a conviction, ignited by a purpose?
Yes, I think that is really a very good definition of leadership. And in Cameroon, there are many people who have positions, but they are not leaders. They are betrayers to the government. They are people who are dictators, and they are people who intimidate others. That is not leadership. Leadership, you have to influence positively. You have to pass out a positive message. Even when a negative activity goes on, you bring a positive solution and you cool and calm down the people. So leadership has not been applied in this situation that we see in Cameroon. That is intimidation, that is bullying the population, that is trying to lord over the people, trying to bring fear and create more fear over the people. That is not leadership. Leadership has to do with positive influence. In this situation in which we find ourselves today, a good leader will go there, call the people, speak in an amicable and friendly language, and look for a solution or look for a way forward. A school has been burnt. Schools have been burnt in many places. It's a very bad thing to burn down schools. But when you are in your jurisdiction, be able to handle things properly because you are a government representative. I don't think that the government put you there to be a bully. Neither did the government put you there to be a dictator. Or to create fear among the people. No.
And to solve these kind of problems as far as leaders and leadership is concerned in Cameroon, you of the Excellence Union International Group, you are building a new breed of community transformers, or result-oriented, professionally minded and responsible nation building young leaders. What exactly are you doing there?
Yes, Excellence Union International Group, which is a group that is building a new set of leaders in all the spheres of operation, in education, in business, in politics, and so on. We have a mandate, we have a vision to build a new set of leaders that will be responsible. Africa needs responsible leaders. Africa needs a new set of leaders that are going to take over this continent and push this continent to emergence, because the previous leaders have failed, except for a few, some exceptions that have been figured out. But in general, African leaders have failed because they have not been able to carry their continent, their nation to emergence. So we are building a new breed of leaders in Cameroon and in Africa, youths that will be able to positively drive the political sphere, the economic sphere, the educational sphere, the communication sphere, and all the spheres of operation in our nation and in our continent. That is the mandate of Excellence Union International Group, and we have been doing it and will continue to do it, because we are for positivity, we are for nation building, we are for the fact that we wish to see our nations move forward. So dictatorship should come to an end and let people be able to feel free to live in their nation under an atmosphere of friendliness.
Dictatorship should come to an end. MOSOKE Lucas LYONGA, General Coordinator, Excellence Union International Group, Business and Investment Consultant, Global Entrepreneur and Philanthropist, Nation Builder. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much. We are always there, and we thank Equinoxe very much. Continue to do the good job you are doing, and I think that the nation is behind Equinoxe. Thank you very much. And Excellence Union International Group, we are also behind Equinoxe to support the good work that Equinoxe is doing.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Equinoxe will be yours in some minutes.